Let us lend our ears to a pivotal moment of contemporary diplomacy as we study the relationships of India, Russia, and what Jaishankar's Moscow trip really signals. Welcome to the Global Eye. This is Mosmi. India's External Affairs Minister S Jaishankar embarked on a 3-day official visit to Moscow from August 19th to August 21st. And we all know about the sharp words and clarity of our Minister S Jaishankar, who met both President Vladimir Putin and Foreign Minister Sergey Lavrov, reaffirming the enduring India-Russia partnership. The talks went beyond symbolic gestures. They focused on deepening cooperation in energy and trade at a time when bilateral exchanges have hit a historic $69 billion. But with India suffering a massive $58.9 billion trade deficit. Jaishankar emphasized the urgent need to rebalance trade by scaling up Indian exports in pharmaceuticals, agriculture, IT services, textiles and auto components. Both sides also agreed to optimize energy trade via long-term LNG deals and expand the rupee rouble settlement framework, reducing exposure to the US dollar. The meetings are also part of the groundwork for President Putin's upcoming visit to India later this year, where concrete agreements on connectivity, energy and a possible India-Eurasian Economic Union FTA may be announced. Meanwhile, discussions on reviving the Russia-India-China RIC dialogue have re-emerged, though its feasibility remains contested. Now, why is this now and what is the strategic context? Firstly, we see the energy and payments. India seeks discounted oil and LNG contracts with stable long-term supply. Work continues on non-dollar payment systems, with Moscow offering flexibility and Delhi pushing rupee ruble settlements. Secondly, we see the trade imbalance. Jaishankar directly raised the $58.9 billion trade gap, urging Russia to open markets to Indian exports, especially pharma, agriculture, textiles, IT and machinery. Connectivity corridors like the International North-South Transport Corridor (INSTC) and shipping routes through the Russian Far East are central to this push. Third, when we see the sanctions era, with Washington's tariff and secondary sanctions looming, India and Russia are building parallel systems, alternative shipping insurance, rupee ruble invoicing and potential FTA talks with the EAEU. And next comes the summit preparation. Moscow meetings have set the stage for Putin's India visit, where announcements on energy trade, diversification and connectivity projects are expected. Now let's see what's on the table and what actually they discussed. Energy deals, long-term LNG contracts, discounted oil and solutions for shipping insurance hurdles, payment systems, expansion of rupee ruble settlements and non-dollar invoicing, market access, Indian pharma, IT, food, textiles and machinery exports to Russia, connectivity, INSTC and Russian Far East shipping lanes for cheaper trade routes, and then FTA talks, advancing an India-EU framework, and finally the RIC dialogue, revival in discussion through symbolism may outweigh substance. Let us see the intentions and mindsets. India: reduce trade imbalance, secure discounted energy, expand exports and maintain autonomy amid US pressure. And Russia: lock India in as a stable energy buyer, diversify trade beyond oil, showcase non-dollar trade systems and reinforce its Eurasian diplomacy. What about United States? Increase cost of India-Russia trade, limit Moscow's revenues and simultaneously pull India towards US supply chains. And when you come to China, welcomes RIC revival to balance Russia's tilt but remains constrained by India-China border hostilities. What are the likely outcomes? Let us see the short-term outcomes. First, expansion of rupee, ruble settlements to smooth payments. Then agreements on LNG and INSTC progress. And then momentum of Putin's India visit with concrete trade deliverables. And the medium-term outcomes, continued reliance on Russian oil and LNG, step towards an India EAEU FTA, partial correction of deficit if Russia opens markets to Indian goods, and symbolic RIC revival but limited strategic outcomes without border thaw. Let us see the risks involved here. US secondary sanctions on banks, shipping firms, oil price volatility disrupting deals, India-China flashpoints derailing trilateral initiatives, and RIC, dream versus reality. Why it may revive? Russia's convening power, shared interest in non-dollar trade, Eurasian connectivity. And why it is difficult? India-China border tensions make genuine cooperation fragile, and symbolism may dominate substance. Now, let's see how this trade takes center stage and how India can push Russia for market access. And this new trade models emerging, and we are also waiting for Putin's India visit. Preparations are underway. US pressure is mounting. Tariffs and sanctions risk RIC revival, symbol or strategy. Now we need to ask, can India close a $58.9 billion deficit with Russia without damaging ties with Washington? Will this rupee ruble trade survive if this US sanctions hit Indian banks handling settlements? Could LNG and non-dollar trade mark the birth of a parallel global energy order? Will an India EAEU FTA cushion US tariff pressure or entangle India deeper in the sanctions crossfire? Can the RIC ever move beyond rhetoric if the India-China border remains unresolved? Think about it. And for more updates and insights, keep watching The Global Eye.